What they do, all of my Grand Addicts. This is Orion, aka Brass Balls. Welcome to 2024. Here we are. I'm continuing this deep dive tape stash series of mine. This is episode 21, and I got a doozy for y'all as always. But before we get into it, let me just tell y'all, please subscribe to the YouTube channel Orion Hip Hop, where I got more and more of these episodes coming, especially for 2024. I can't wait to really get into this year because I got a lot of gems on deck. So I wanted to kick it off with this special joint right here because I'm gonna let the world know the truth. 97 and 98, this MC had a heavy buzz. His countless freestyles on mixtapes, his feature cameo on tracks, he was showing everybody that he is a bar master early on, way before he even put out an album. And that's what made him so heavily sought after and anticipated from the hip-hop community. Remember, at this time, you had the likes of Big Pun, DMX, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, all of these fresh new acts. But this guy right here really had everybody on edge, and that is Canibus. Second Round Knockouts is possibly his biggest song because of the fact that he really got in LL's ass. Big pause. Now I'm talking about Second Round Knockouts, which was Canibus's response to LL's verse on the Posse cut 4321. If you remember, 4321 is what sparked everything. There was an incident that happened between LL and Canibus in the studio. LL took it some kind of way when Canibus asked if he could get a tattoo like the Mike tattoo that LL had, and the rest is history. I really don't need to dive in deep to the background of this track because it's all over the internet. You can find this, but the beef between LL and Canibus was real. It felt like David versus Goliath, because LL was already an established icon at this point, and Canibus was the new fresh MC on the scene who everybody was digging his bars. So the significance of this track in the time is huge. This song is dope as hell. The beat is ill. You know, Wyclef and Jerry Wonder really outdid themselves on this production and really delivered something for Canibus to deliver some battle bars over. Now, I will say that as dope as this track is, I feel LL's The Ripper Strikes Back hit almost as hard. And I always wonder if Canibus would have then fired back with another deadly track, where would Canibus be? I kind of feel like that was a misstep, and the brother should have came out with another track after LL replied with Ripper Strikes Back. Now, there was huge criticism on Canibus following this track. He got a lot of backlash for the Can I Bust debut album that was off of Universal Records. The production was mostly done by Jerry Wonder and Wyclef. However, there was some guest production from LG, who is actually Easy Mo B's little brother. There was production from Clark Kent, which we're going to get into that track because it's in the B-side. And there was a kid called Roots. Now, this album got heavy bad reviews, unfortunately, and I don't think it was necessarily fair. I think Jerry Wonder and Wyclef definitely gave him some dope production on this album. I think where the misstep happened was on their choice for the second single. The second single being Honor You. Beat fell flat. Nobody was really feeling that track, and at that point, this album, in my opinion, was doomed, you know. But it is what it is. I think a better selection for a second single could have been the B-side to this track, which is How We Roll. So let's get into that. The beat on How We Roll was produced by Clark Kent. Mad slept on, mad underrated producer in this game of ours. And the verses that Canibus laid on this are flawless. Ahead of his time with a lot of his punchlines on this. I have this track memorized, and I could do this shit karaoke if you ask me. Now, it's featuring somebody on the hook by the name of Panama PI. And Panama PI was an MC who was from Southside Queens, and he was down with the Group Home family. Not to be confused with Group Home of Gangstar Foundation. Group Home Family was a collective of MCs and groups, Lost Boys, A+, Canibus, and Panama PI, alongside with a slew of other people, I'm sure. But Group Home Family was its own little production team, and Panama PI was down with them. However, in case you recognize that voice, Panama PI was actually down with Onyx prior to getting down with Group Home Family. And he was featured on the Evil Streets original track and also the Evil Streets remix. He's the guy on the hook. Now, he was down with Onyx and he was going to be part of Army Records alongside All City. But I don't know what may have happened there. Somebody else that he collabed with a dope-ass track that you can check out online is Adolf Aguilar. They got a dope-ass track together called Pass the Tron, all about that weed, you feel me? But unfortunately, Panama PI apparently passed away in 2022. So rest in peace to a Southside Queens legend. His style was more or less on some like ODB meets Method Man. That's something I always thought about. And shout out to Fredro Starr, because there's a video you can find. I'm going to put the link on the description box on the YouTube so that you can go peep what Fredro Starr had to say about Panama PI. He had a cool story about how Panama PI was on tour with them and even battled or ciphered with on a head-to-head, toe-to-toe shit with none other than Mr. Johnny Blaze, the Iron Lung Method Man. So rest in peace to Panama PI. Definite talent, gonna be missed. He adds a dope flavor on this How We Roll hook. And yeah, man, this is one of my go-to joints if I'm ever listening to Canibus. 100%. I think this is one of his best tracks. Now, the tape itself has some instrumentals, which is dope. It's got no acapellas, and it would have been dope, especially given Canibus's history, if it would have had at least one exclusive freestyle. That would have been very, very dope to see on this tape cassette. But this is a gem I'm glad I have in my collection. I remember when Second Round Knockout came out, and I was fucking so hyped about Canibus, man, and what was to come. I don't knock that Canibus album as much as other people. I think it's a dope album. I don't give that shit no 2 mics. I give it a clear 3.7 mics. Go check out that Canibus. It was ahead of its time. Tracks like Channel Zero and Hypnitis is on some next shit still to this day. So shout out to Canibus doing his thing. Shout out to everybody that's been peeping these episodes. Deep Dive Tape Stash. We are in 2024. I got more to come. Stay tuned with me. Subscribe to the channel. Repost, share, comment, all that. Appreciate y'all. Peace.